You know why I think I like the gym so much? Because you cannot buy muscles. You cannot buy a set of biceps. You cannot go on Amazon, look up six pack, and just order one and get it on your doorstep. You gotta put in the effort. You gotta take the actions to get one, you know? Then you could come up to me and be like, Dylan, what about steroids, you know? Well, kind of, but like steroids don't give you muscles. They just accelerate recovery. Like imagine bodybuilding is like building a car, right? And everybody's, trying to build their car. They got all the pieces in front of them. And no instruction manual. Steroids is like buying the instruction manual instead of just putting pieces together until you get your car built. You know, the dude with the manual, like he's building Legos, is probably gonna get done with this car a little bit faster. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the way I think of it. I'm sure there's 100 analogies out there when it comes to how steroids work, but it's not like you don't just. It doesn't work that way. You know, you still have to put the actions behind what you want. And then I also just responded to a comment saying that since I'm becoming an actor, I should probably not tell you guys to not watch TV. And I'm not saying TV is bad. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that in my case, what I have found recently is that nothing beats the feeling of a dumbbell in my hand. Nothing beats the feeling of when I'm flying around on the ice. Nothing beats the feeling of being on camera, whether I'm making a YouTube video, a short, or I'm doing something for acting class. And the more I go to acting class, the more I realize that being on screen is a lot more fun than watching the screen, you know? I mean, I've watched a lot of TV in the past, and like I still do, like if something catches my attention, I can get sucked in. Like, you know that Netflix special where that Alex guy climbed that skyscraper? I watched that on my birthday, you know, because it was all frozen, everything was closed, we were snowed in. So that's, I didn't put it on, my parents actually put it on, but next thing you know, I was locked in. See, I just have an issue finding what to watch because I'll spend like an hour trying to figure out what to watch, and then I feel like I just wasted an hour because I still don't know what to watch. And then I'll finally pick something after an hour of looking, and then I watch a 40-minute episode, and I'm like, I don't know if that's doing it, you know? I wasn't very interested. And then everyone's like, Dylan, you just gotta wait. You gotta watch the second and third episode. And then I watched the second and third episode, and I'm still like, no, I kind of want to do something else, you know? But nothing beats the feeling of like actually experience. I'm not saying don't watch TV, but go and like try some of the things you see on TV or TV shows, you know? Like just see like what it feels like. Now obviously like there's limitations. I understand if you're watching Grey's Anatomy, I'm not telling you go grab a scalpel and ask somebody if you can perform surgery on them. I don't do that, but what I am saying is like, in my case, every time I watch the movie Miracle, or every time I've watched any ice skating movie, I've always wanted to go skate. So I do, you know, and I tell you what, that experience is a whole lot better than watching the movie. I would in the movie Miracle, I'll practice the suicide drills they do on the ice myself. And you know, in the movie, all the players on the team, they hate it. You know, if you don't know, Miracle's a hockey movie about the United States. Yeah, the United States hockey team for the Olympics. And in the movie, the players hate that drill. But I'm like, I mean, when I was watching, I was like, dude, that looks fun. And if they did that to beat Russia in the Olympics, then I bet you it'll make Dillon a better skater. So I do it, you know. I'll be on the ice rink. I'm like bouncing around from line to line. And I'm sure there's other scenarios where you're watching something and you could go do it yourself. I remember one time my dad was taking me to school. This was when I was into like professional gaming and stuff. And I was watching a live stream of somebody else playing a game, and my dad was like, why do you always watch them? Why don't you play the game yourself? Why do you watch somebody else do it? And I was like, well, Dad, why do you watch football? Why don't you just go grab a football and go play? He's like, oh, that's a pretty good point, you know. There is enjoyment in watching other people do something on a level more advanced than you are, because it gives you a good representation of what's possible for yourself. That's kind of the same feeling I get when like I was on my weight loss journey and I would see other people's weight loss photos, like transformation reels, you know what I'm talking about. Every time I would see those on my feed, it get me going a little bit more, you know. I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. There's other people out there doing the same thing or have accomplished the same thing, and it just reinforced that I could do it too, you know. That's why when I'm on the ice rink, I'm always like, when somebody's interested in skating and they're asking me questions, I really try to give them the best rundown possible, because I want them to stay. I want them to realize that they can do it too. I was talking with one of my cousins yesterday. I came outside and they were just walking by, and I went on a walk with them, and skating came up, and he was like, man, I could never skate. It's like, man, my first thought is, if you say you never can, then you never will. But just try it, you know? Everybody always fills their head with self-doubt that they can't skate like me, you know? Or that they can't do something that they saw on TV. Or that they can't do something that this guy did. You can, just maybe not right now. You know, because I always say, people always come up to me and they want a short statement on how to be a better skater. And I'm like, look, you got to practice some delayed gratification. It's going to take time. That's why I think time is more valuable than money. If I gave you $1 million, then, well, it'll still have a funeral. But if I gave you unlimited time, imagine how many more millions you can make. You know, you won't be scared to fail. You'll get to try things over and over. Let me ask you this before I go. If I gave you eternal time, what would you change in your life? Because I wouldn't change anything. If somebody came up to me and was like, Dillon, you're gonna live forever, nothing would change for me. I'd wake up and I'd still keep doing the same thing. And I want you guys to do the same thing. All right? Live every day like you have unlimited time. And then just see what changes, see what happens. Do a little experiment. But that's all I have for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.